Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your February 2020 general readings. We're looking at the first half of February from the 1st to the 15th. So welcome everyone, welcome newcomers and first timers, and welcome back followers and subscribers. Thanks for being here and thanks for all of your support. This reading is for the air sign of Gemini, our beloved twins, for the first half of February. That's Gemini sun, moon, rising, if your Venus is in Gemini, or if you're cross-watching for Gemini. But as we always say, and most of you know, watch all of your other signs if you know them, if you can. It can provide additional clarification and info too. General readings can't always resonate for everyone all of the time, or they can resonate differently at different times. So watch your other signs if you know them. If any of these readings do resonate with you and you would be interested in reaching out for a personal reading, just click on the description link below for more info and contact details. You can email me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. I offer a wide variety of readings in all the main areas of life. I can usually respond to initial inquiries within the same day or the first 24 hours. And setting up the readings is done in a pretty timely fashion too. I do readings 5-6 days a week, sometimes more. It's all that I do. So I'm pretty diligent at working with people's schedules to get readings out to you or scheduled with you in as quick and timely a frame as possible, depending on schedules. So send me an email if you're interested. We'll go from there. All right, let's move right into this for our beautiful twins, Gemini, for the first half of February. Let us see what is in store for you. Okay, Gemini, we begin with the Two of Cups. Interesting, that was your sister sign Aquarius's overall energy, followed by the Eight of Swords, the Knight of Cups, followed by the Page of Swords, overall energy from the bottom of the deck is the Eight of Wands, so movement, communication, perhaps travel. Wands is governed by the element of fire. This is creative, artistic, fast forward, aggressive, assertive energy. The Eight of Wands is a card that can represent communication, and we live in such a technologically driven age. This could be, emails, texts, Skype, things of that sort. This can represent travel, messages, travel, communication, conversation, or a combination of all of those things. Very assertive, hot, passionate, fast-moving energy. So messages, travel, yes. So that's kind of your overall general energy over you for the first half of February. I feel like this might be relationship oriented for many of you. We have the Two of Cups, the Knight of Cups, Two Cups, Two Swords, One Wand. So Cups is water energy, and in the tarot this is the element which governs the suit of Cups, and it's watery, mercurial, emotional energy. So the Cups is usually about our heart, our emotional landscape, and things that relate to that. So we have the Two of Cups here, one of the traditional soulmate, kindred spirit, best friend cards. Sometimes it can represent best friends that transition into something more romantic. It represents fundamentally a union, a really great union, more than just in obvious ways. This is someone that you connect with on a variety of different levels very well. Kindred spirits, best friends, definitely a kind of a karmic connection between the two of you. However, it's clarified by the Eight of Swords, which is a card that represents feeling perhaps trapped or held hostage or bound up, unable to act or choose or do something that you want to because you feel like you can't. Swords is governed by the element of air, and in the tarot this is energy of in our head. Words, ideas, communication, belief systems, perceptions, ideology, truth, wisdom, enlightenment. This is kind of a card of actually being held hostage by your own thoughts, your own ideas, perhaps your own mental fears. Because the only one that's actually keeping this person in here is herself. The ideas, because the swords represent ideas, words, communication. And because that is also an energy that's over you for the first 2 weeks, perhaps in regards to this person, you might feel like you can't speak. You might be feeling the pressure of things that you want to say, communication, messages. Maybe you want to go to this person, or this person wants to come to you in terms of traveling, but somehow you feel you can't because this is a card of being held prisoner. But you're not really. The swords represent things in your head, not really actually in your external environment. And it's not to say that all things don't have challenges and that freeing yourself doesn't also come at a cost. Everything comes at a cost if we're willing to pay it. But it does represent primarily that the only blockage or obstacle or thing that is holding you back from fill in the blank, whatever it is that you want with this person, is your feeling like you can't, but you really can. And again, it might come at a cost. Everything does. But you are never absolutely trapped unless you're like physically being held hostage, of course, because take a look at this. These swords which are hemming her in, the gaps are plenty wide enough that she could just simply walk through the swords. She's down on her knees, which implies a sense of victim state, helplessness, but nobody is forced her on her knees and nobody's holding her there. The chains, I mean, she's chained up around the wrists. Sorry about the glare on that. She's chained up around the wrists, but those chains aren't actually connected to anyone or anything. With a twist of her wrist, those chains could fall off. She could stand up on her own 2 feet, take the blindfold off, take a look around and go, you know what, I'm not trapped. I'm going to remove myself from this. And again, it may be difficult to do in that, you know, taking yourself out of one situation in order to get something else might be difficult. For example, if you know, if this is a love romance relationship, if you were already in an established relationship or marriage and, you know, perhaps you weren't happy, or you really found you met someone else that you thought really was the better match for you. Freeing yourself, of course, is not easy. You have to go through like the whole separation and divorce and all of that kind of process. And I mean, I'm not saying that that's the case here for for those of you watching. I'm just using it as an example and analogy. I mean, it might be that for some of you. But my point is that we are rarely ever absolutely trapped. And the Eight of Swords is a card that the positive aspect of this is that the actual biggest obstacle and hurdle is in your own mind, represented by your own belief system, thoughts, ideology. I can't do what I want to do. I can't open my mouth and speak my truth to this person. I can't go to be with this person, or vice versa. I'm trapped because of, you know, fill in the blank, because of this other relationship, or because of my family, or because of my job, or because of whatever. We're never absolutely trapped. There's almost always a cost to pay, of course, but it's a question of being willing to pay that or not. And if we're not, then it's time to let go of whatever it is that we think we want. But there is a sense of feeling held back here. And again, it might be communicating with, traveling to, or being with this person that you really love and care about. Some of you may be having, because this is a card that also represents travel and communication, some of you during the first half of February, this is a time period which technically covers Valentine's Day too, you might be having the conversations with this person, traveling to see this person, to be with this person, you know, or vice versa. Long distance or short distance, and you might be talking about, you know, I want to have this with you, I want to do this, I want to, you know, but I can't, I feel kind of trapped. But I feel like for a lot of you, I'm getting this sense of verbalness. I almost feel like I'm stuttering, can't quite say what I want to say, and that might be the problem. And, you know, because sometimes the Two of Cups does represent best friends or soulmate or kindred spirit, this is kind of a little similar to your sister sign Aquarius's reading too. It might be for some of you that you have been in this really great friendship with someone, maybe for a long time or even a shorter period of time, and you're feeling these other feelings, maybe something more romantically inclined, but you feel like you can't say that to this person because fill in the blank, because you're afraid to, because you're in a relationship, because they're in a relationship, etc. So next we have, I mean, it could be that for some of you as well. So next we have the Knight of Cups charging in with his cup of love, clarified by the Page of Swords. So I do think for some of you this is about love and romance, or emotional support and encouragement with someone that you feel very connected to, because the Two of Cups, this is obviously someone you feel really connected to, whether it's just on a best friend, kindred spirit level, not just. I mean, that's a beautiful relationship too, and they tend to last longer than some of the other ones. Whether it is that without romantic entanglements, or whether it's a romantic relationship as well. This is definitely about someone that you have this connective relationship with or partnership with too. This could, I mean, the Two of Cups does sometimes come up for work, business relationships, or even the union of two companies in a really great way. So it's about a union, especially because right next to that Two of Cups is the Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups over the Page of Wands, but these two are next to each other. Knights are the bringers, the deliverers of the tarot. So they bring things, typically opportunities for change. They're very passionate, single focused. They're knights, they're all about missions and quests and achieving those missions and quests, and very single-minded, rushing off charge so they accomplish those mission and quests. So what opportunity for change, what is this knight trying to accomplish or bring in? This is the Knight of Cups. Cups, remember, is water, emotional energy. The Knight of Cups is in love with love itself. He's very much an idealist, a traditionalist. If you were going to be courted by a traditional Knight of Cups, he would come with, chocolates and red roses and dining and dancing by moonlight, candlelight, probably some very bad poetry, that sort of thing. He promises the sun, the moon, and the stars, and he totally believes it while he's promising it. Totally means it too. Sometimes the challenge the Knight of Cups has is in the actual day-to-day follow-through after things die down. But he's charging in to express his love, his admiration, his emotional support and encouragement. His horse is rearing up. He is ready. He is ready to offer that, to come in and offer the sun, the moon, the stars, the proposal, etc. And because it is sitting next to the Two of Cups, I mean, for a lot of you, this is in the love, something that falls under the love and romance umbrella of your life. For others, it might be just another kind of very emotionally connective relationship, and you're wanting to come in and offer your love, support, encouragement in some other way too. And there's lots of, energy around communication and travel trying to do this. But clarifying the Knight of Cups is the Page of Swords. So here's more of that sword energy, and it's right next to the Eight of Swords, this feeling trapped. Pages are just starting out, because they're like that student apprenticeship feeling. They're like still in school. They're still learning and kind of at the beginning of the path of taking what they're learning and putting it into practical application in the real world. They're kind of at the beginning. They're at that introductory, fresh, young, enthusiastic, a little nervous kind of, energy. And they can also represent messages and messengers too. So you do have to, and if you look at the Eight of Swords, kind of three cards that represent maybe energy around communication, but feeling like you can't communicate or speak your truth here somehow, Gemini. It's a little bit similar to Aquarius in that there was also, some things around a soulmate or kindred spirit partnership connection, and whether or not something was the right thing to do or how to navigate through something, in a way that you still felt like you were maintaining your own moral ethics and honor and integrity. It might be that for you here too, because the Page of Swords can sometimes represent being in a moral dilemma or an ethical dilemma where you're kind of in the midst of a situation and you're like, do I stand up and say something? Is that the right thing to do? I don't know. Is it the right thing to do? And if so, how do I do it in the right way? What is the right way to kind of navigate through this, and feeling a bit unsure and nervous about it? And because it's sitting next to the Eight of Swords, I think for some of you it feels there's this person, and technically you can always look at a spread as being from the other person's side. It could be, someone else that you're in, this could be from the other person's point of view, but primarily I read for you. So some of you, it looks like you're maybe in love with someone or feeling that draw towards someone. It could be somebody new, someone you've met, or someone you already have had like a friendship with. You're feeling the strong desire to say something, to, I almost said expose yourself, to kind of emotionally expose yourself and kind of lay it out there. But there's this sense of holding back because you're afraid, or some of you, maybe it's not maybe you're wondering if that's the right thing to do, because maybe you're involved already with someone else, or maybe they're involved with someone else, or maybe you don't think they'd be interested in that, but yet you still feel this, because I'm getting this sort of compulsion almost to say it or to communicate this, to make this connection with this person, but feeling kind of held back. It's just kind of interesting. So let us end here with a card of advice from Spirit to see what the best way is to navigate through this, at least for the first half of February. We're looking at a pretty short period of time here, just 2 weeks. So let's ask Spirit, advice, guidance, feedback. What's the best way for Gemini to navigate through this for the first half of February? What should they fall back on? The High Priestess, that's interesting, because this was the first of 2 advice cards that Aquarius, your sister sign, got for advice as well. This is about paying attention to God, spirit, angels, and guides, your own gut instinct, higher self, intuition. People call it different things. Intuition is your connection to the divine. It's sometimes shows up as dreams that keep repeating, or dreams where you have the same theme, or things that seem to happen randomly or synchronistically, but which connect to something that's going on in your life. Paying attention to ideas and thoughts that won't go away, messages from the divine that are trying to get in. The High Priestess does that. She's a very spiritually connective, or it's a she, a spiritually connective individual, and she stays quiet a lot of the time and listens for that, both with her ears and with her, her inner self, and allows that to be the thing that guides her. And there also is some indication or implication that inside of you already, Gemini, you have a feeling of what you should do, or what the right thing is to do here. Sometimes the advice of the High Priestess, or what the High Priestess hears or feels compelled or guided to do, can be difficult, especially if in the real external world seems to go against that. But this is about kind of holding true to that. So that's going to mean different things to those of you, but there it is. All right, Gemini, that is your reading for the first half of February. I hope that you found it helpful and useful to you in some way. If any of these readings resonate with you and you would like a more personal, in-depth reading, and you'd like to reach out and connect with me, just click on the description link below for more info and contact details. You can email me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be most happy to work with you. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the February 2020 mid-month general readings. Until then, as always, Gemini, I wish you much love, joy, peace, strength, and wisdom, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.